Hello all. Till now we have learned some basics of Ploty, some basics of data structures of Python, some basics of pandas. So now let's learn what are the basic plots in our Ploty module. Again, if I will say, okay, what are the basic plots? Let's think in context of we have some line chart, we have some bar chart, we have some pie chart, we have some distribution, we have some histogram. These are some of the basic chart that are frequently used in the real world. Again, there are hundreds of plots in Ploty itself, but as due to time constraint, we will focus more on these that are extremely used. Again, if we will have time, definitely we will touch upon some of the interesting ones. Don't worry that. So first and foremost, let's understand what exactly is a line chart. Let's understand that. So again, in general, line chart is typically used when you have to understand what is the trend within a data. So imagine, as we are working on a sample of Zomato dataset, so imagine I have one of the features as let's say date, and I have all the dates. Imagine from 1st July, let's say we have 2nd July, and so on so forth till 31st December. Let's say I have stored all the dates in a list or in an array, doesn't matter. And let's say I have one more list. That's the total number of orders, the total orders. So imagine on 1st July, the total orders are, let's say 40k on Zomato. On 2nd July, we have 37k. On 3rd July, we have, let's say 31k. So on so forth till 31st December. Let's say the count on 31st December, the count is, let's say 29k. Imagine. So the moment I ask, okay, can you find what exactly is going within this data? Can you find that? So whenever there is a question as what is going within a data or what is the trend within a data, it's always good to go for a line chart. We say, okay, let's go for a line chart. On x-axis, I have all the dates. On y-axis, what we have is we have all the orders. We say, okay, let's plot some line plot. Let's say this is my line chart. Imagine this is the line chart. So if I say, okay, can you find some meaningful insight from the line chart? I can say, okay, let's try. So the moment you see that, okay, over here after this, we have a huge spike. So you can say, okay, probably due to Christmas or probably due to New Year's, there can be more orders on Zomato. So this is the inference how you can think of extracting just from the basic line chart that you have. That's where your line chart is handy. So now let's understand what exactly is a bar chart. Again, let's try to relate it with a real world example. Let's try to relate that. So what I can say, okay, let's understand what is a bar chart. So imagine I have data of, let's say, some persons that likes, let's say I have some data of person that likes to book an order in either an offline mode or in online mode. Let's say I have all the data. Imagine a list as order. Let's say all the mode. Let's say, okay, online mode. Then we have something like offline mode. Then we have again something known as online mode. So on and so forth. Let's say these are 1 million records. Imagine these are 1 million records. The moment I ask you, okay, can you tell me, is there any significant difference between the persons of offline mode and online mode? Is there a significant difference? It means what I need data like this. Let's say with respect to online, the total person that need this services, let's say 40k. And in context of offline, let's say the total person that need this services, let's say 30k. And I will say, okay, let's plot this using simple bar chart. So I will say, okay, let's say this is a simple bar chart we have. And these are nothing but a bar. So I will say, okay, this is my offline. Okay, this is my online. And this is my offline. Here I have a count. On y-axis we have a count in bar chart. This is my simple bar chart that I can think of. I can say, okay, definitely offline customers have an edge. Or you can say, okay, let's say this is my offline, this is my online. I can say, okay, online customers have an edge over my offline customers. It means Zomato can focus more on the online customers. That's a simple inference that you can find from this. Simple inference. Now let's learn what exactly is a pie chart. Again, in short, pie chart is just a pictorial representation of data in the form of a circular chart that you have. So in pie chart, what we have is, we have typically something known as pie. So imagine this is a pie. This is a pie. So each of the pie or slices of the pie typically show the size of the data. This shows the size of the data. This entire pie shows the size of the data. That's what in general pie chart is all about. So lesser the size of the pie, it means lesser the count over here. It means here I can say, okay, this is the count with respect to my offline customers, whereas this is a count with respect to my online customer. This is simple pie chart in context of this problem statement that we have, simple pie chart. So now let's have a code walkthrough and let's understand all these things in context of code. Let's understand that. So, okay, we have all the data. Let's say I have all these days in one list, the total orders in another list. Let me very first execute this line of code. Cool. Now, if I need a line chart, I can say, okay, let's call a line function. Look at this. This is a line function in my Ploty express because px is a alias of Ploty express. The moment I press shift plus tab over there, look at this. What I need is I need data frame, or what I need is I need x, some y, and so on and so forth. And if I will scroll to below, now what are all things that x can receive? It can be a string, it can be integer, or it can be series, or it can be something array or list like things. So I can say, okay, let's say x equals to my days. On x-axis I need days. On y-axis what I need is I need my total orders. And the moment I will execute this line of code. Now look at this. This is a simple line chart that you have. Let's say if I will scroll my mouse over here, look at this. Here I have a clear indication that on Friday this is a count. On Saturday this is a count. On Thursday this is a count. So this is a simple trend that you can find from this simple trend. Now let's talk with respect to a bar chart. Let's talk with that. Imagine the problem statement that we have is, let's say, okay, how many people prefer booking table and how many doesn't. Let's say this is a problem statement that we have. It means at the end of the day, what need is, in context of yes, I need some count. In context of no, I need some count, because in booking table I have values that yes and no. Wherever it is yes, it means people need a functionality for booking table. Wherever it is no, it means people doesn't care about this. Imagine count is 40k and imagine count is 30k. It means at the end of the day, what we need is we need this kind of data. If I can come up with this kind of data, our task is done. Again, there are tons of ways to come up with such kind of data. One way is you can say just call a simple value count on top of this booking table, because this typically returns the frequency table. Again, let's have a code walkthrough because this makes our task simple. Let's have this. So if I say that df of book underscore table, cool, these are my all the values. On top of this, if I will call a simple value count, let me show that what exactly it returns. It typically returns the frequency table. Look at this. And if I need all the values, I can say, okay, let's call our values. Let's call our values. Now look at this. This is a simple array that you have. And if I need an index, I can say, okay, let's call something known as index. So we have the index. Sounds good. Now let's try to create a bar plot of this. Again, you can think of using your Ploty express bar plot as well. So I can say as px.bar. Look at this. This is a simple signature, simple documentation we have. But let's touch upon how you can think of doing that using graph objects. It means using Go. Because what we have learned is, what we have created is, we have created an object as Go in context of graph objects. So I say, okay, in Go, we have an amazing function, which is my bar function. The moment I press tab, look at this. This is a signature of this function. So on x-axis, we have to mention all the indexes. I will say these are all the indexes that we have. On y-axis, I have to mention all the values that we have. I will say, okay, let's mention all the values that you have. Okay, I can say, okay, what it returns is, it just return a trace object or a bar chart object. Let's store this in, let's say trace 1. Let me execute that. And if I have to showcase, this, you have to use something known as a iplot. In order to showcase this visualization, you have to use iplot. So I will say as trace 1. And the moment I will execute this line of code, look at this. This is a simple bar chart you have. In context of no, you will definitely have a higher count because this is something what we have achieved over there. Similarly, if we need, let's say, pie chart, so I can say as okay, px.py, and here we have a very crazy parameters. Look at this. My data frame, my names, what are all the names, and what are all the values that we have. Again, in names I have to mention all the indexes, and here values, in values I have to mention all the values or my array which hold values. So I can say okay, the data frame is my df. Now in values, what we have to mention is we have to mention this part, or you can say we have to mention this part. So I will say this is the part that we have to mention. Then we have one more parameter which is my names. In names, what we have to mention is we have to mention our index. So I will say my index. And the moment I will execute this line of code, look at this. This is a simple pie chart. Look at the size of the plot. Here in context of yes, it shows okay, there are total 31.1% of customers that like this service or that have an option of the service, whereas 87% doesn't like the service or they don't opt for the service. This is a simple inference that you can find from the simple pie chart. Simple thing, not a rocket science thing. Again, for those of you who have any error with a code or whatever else you have, feel free to utilize the Q&A of the course. That's all about it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Keep learning, keep growing, keep practicing.